Does your boss look over your shoulder, waiting for you to make the smallest mistake? Do they check in with you all the time to make sure you're okay? Are they constantly wanting you to report back to them with sit reps? And does all of that drive you up the wall and make you want to tear your hair out? Yes? Well, join the many thousands in the same boat as you. You are not alone, and in this video I'm going to explain why this happens, why you are part of the problem, and how to deal with it. You'll also find out how to tell if you are a micromanager. Before we dig in, click subscribe to get more Leadership Inside Out videos like this one. Micromanagement is the bane of teams and organisations. It stunts initiative, throttles creativity, drives good people away, and attracts drones and idlers. Its roots lie in the mindset of the manager, but it cannot survive without the complicity of others. Everyone is responsible. So let's look first at how micromanagers come into being. Micromanagement is, in essence, the delegation of a task without responsibility. It's me saying to you, I want you to go shopping, but I'm coming with you to tell you what to buy, in what order, where to buy it, how much to spend, and how long to take. For heaven's sake, you're thinking, you may as well go on your own. But of course, you can't say that because I'm your boss. So off we trot together to the supermarket, whilst I proudly show you what a brilliant shopper I am, my trolley handling skills, and how I can pack at the checkout with fewer bags than you could. Meanwhile, you swing between biting your lip in frustration until it bleeds and mind-numbing boredom. The reason managers get into this rut of micromanagement is varied. Some like to show off their superior skills. Others use it to distract them from their actual job. But perhaps the most prevalent driver is lack of trust in their people. Now, lack of trust can originate from all kinds of life experiences which we don't need to get into. They are not relevant and not our business. It's enough to know that lack of trust in others is frequently a reflection or even a projection of lack of trust in themselves. So when your manager just can't bring themselves to give you full responsibility for a task without breathing down your neck, it's often because they haven't yet learned to trust themselves. So what? Well, this is key in many cases because if your manager's behaviour is being conditioned by a deeply held mindset about themselves, you stand about as much chance as a snowflake in hell of changing it. You see, their issue is not with you. If it were, there might be something you could do about it, and we'll visit that later on. But when it's really about them, you're not going to change it just by asking them to trust you or by proving yourself to them. So what do? Well, in this case, which is essentially intractable, you should certainly invite them to give you the responsibility you crave by asking them straight up. Jess, I know you like to make sure I get things right, but I'm going to work better and learn more if you can leave me to get on with things alone. If this works, great. But it may well not, in which case you really have no option but to look for another position. Remember that if you put up with it, you become complicit and are saying to your boss, yes, I like having no responsibility, please don't give me any. Never be tempted to try to fix them. You are not their therapist, that is not your responsibility. Another reason that bosses micromanage is when they have to. Now, this might sound surprising after suggesting there's no good reason for it, but bear with me. If you have a team of underperformers, people who may be, through no fault of their own, out of their depth, then the manager's only recourse will be to hold their hands and shepherd them through the tasks. Obviously, this is neither desirable nor sustainable. Sometimes a manager will inherit such a team, and short-term, this can be the only strategy. If they are good managers, they will proceed to train their people up to scratch quickly or move on. But in some instances, a manager will unconsciously hire those that are not the best fit for the team. I've worked with several CEOs like this. One of them would constantly complain about the poor performance of his directors, but not take any action to improve it. I drew the conclusion that having what he called idiots in his team made him look less idiotic than he was. In fact, it made him the biggest idiot of all. And when people did perform, he would attempt to sabotage the success. Fortunately, he retired, and many of the business's problems retired with him. Another CEO client suffered from being so smart that he could keep abreast of every detail in his 8-figure business and always be one step ahead of his C-suite. The guy was so driven and intense that there was no changing him, leaving his directors, who were no slouches either, with a simple choice. If you don't like the culture of micromanagement, move on. Micromanagement slowly but surely kills ambition, creativity, growth, energy, and life itself. It demeans people by failing to recognize potential, and it leaves the micromanager in the delusion that they are good at their job because of all their efforts to make sure others are too. It has no upside. Even in training, trainees need the space to make mistakes. Imagine trying to learn to ride a bike when your dad is holding the handlebar to show you how. So if you're being micromanaged, I hope you can see that you are part of the problem. It takes at least 2 people to enable a boss to micromanage. Stop blaming them and stop bleating about how awful your boss is. Do something about it. Number 1, tell them. Choose the right words to indicate that you need less oversight and more flexibility in how you do your job, or leave. Make sure you aren't one of the millions of workers who are dying a slow death at work. And if you're hearing this and asking yourself, am I a micromanager? Then you should certainly reflect carefully on that possibility. Get your team together and ask them if they would recommend any changes to your leadership style. Remember that you'll get a very sanitized version of what they really think. After all, you are their boss. But read between the lines and get clarification. Here's the acid test. Could you go on a 2-week holiday without your phone or your laptop? If you could, you are probably not a micromanager. Of course, every sector is different, but you should be able to spend some time away from work incommunicado without everything falling apart. Use this holiday scenario to reflect on whether you may have the hallmark of a micromanager. Remember that good managers are good leaders, and good leaders create more leaders, not followers. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next one.